Hi guys, great to be here with you today. Today our hero of faith has a very similar story to our last hero of faith, Abraham. Today we're looking at Sarah, who can also be found in Genesis from chapters 12 to 23. And with Sarah we find that she is a hero of faith because she sees the impossible become the possible. The impossible become impossible, that's impossible, right? Does that even ever happen? Well, if we look back in time, we'll find some things that have seemed impossible. Like when the greatest minds in the world thought that the earth was flat, but turns out it's not. Or when we first stepped on the moon, it would have just been a dream to have at one point, and now we seem to be able to do that whenever we want. And of course, not to mention the most amazing impossible thing that has ever been made possible, Leicester City win the Premier League. Now I'm sure that no matter who you support, you would have thought that was impossible. And yet no matter how unlikely, no matter how much against the odds it was made possible for us all to see. Which makes me start to think, is there anything that is impossible? Well, if you've ever read the Bible or know anything about God, then you'll know that with God nothing is impossible. Just like he says in Luke 1 and Matthew 19, nothing is impossible with God. And if we look back to Sarah, the thing that was impossible for her was that she wasn't able to have children. Not being able to have children in those days would look like you'd done something wrong and that God was punishing you for a sin that you or someone else in your family has committed. So it wasn't just the pain of not having a child, but all the prejudice that came along with that as well. Sarah was living with the impossible. And I think that for many of us, if not all of us, can relate to her. But we might all have that impossible that we can't see happening, that we might all struggle knowing that there is something that we just can't see to happen. But this is why Sarah is a hero of faith. That even though Sarah couldn't have children, and she was even past the childbearing age, she was enabled to because she was faithful to God who made her that promise. God had promised her that she would have a child, and she had faith that it would happen. Often we might read in the Bible that God has made the impossible happen, and that God promising things that we don't think that relates to us, or that we can't see ever happening. But Sarah believed, and she had faith that it would, and it is exactly what happened. Sarah gave birth to Isaac, and not only that, there was a massive line after Isaac going all the way to Jesus. For Sarah, her impossible thing was made possible. So what is our impossible thing? What is your impossible thing? I know these things are called impossible for a reason, but with God nothing is impossible. I think Sarah should encourage us to bring our impossibles to God, ask him to help us, because with God, impossibles are made possible.